My name is Mahdi Shaheeb Sher. My website is www.mahdishaheebsher.com. I think one of my interests in the world as Mahdi Shaheeb Sher is COVID. I think we have had an instance of an influenza pandemic called COVID. We had it a few years ago for about 3 years. And I think with COVID, it's probably the most serious disease and influenza pandemic, bird flu kind of pandemic in maybe 30 years. So I think that's how serious it is. But I think with this, it has cost 6 to 7 million lives. So it is quite a lethal and devastating disease. It's kind of been the largest global flu outbreak that the world has ever seen. I don't think we've had a global flu outbreak that like COVID ever in the world. I think in terms of fatalities, it's a third the size of the European plague, which was quite devastating as well for the European population. I think with this flu pandemic, it's cost 7 million lives globally, and it's the first global outbreak of disease and bird flu the world has ever seen. So I think it is quite a significant thing to experience COVID. I don't know why this flu outbreak is called COVID, but I think that's quite significant and it means something as well. I think COVID is some kind of maybe a test tube name or something. But I think the source of COVID is China, and I think it's maybe one particular region in China that has been referenced with the media. So I think that there is information as to exactly where the source of the COVID outbreak is, and I think China is responsible for the COVID outbreak. I think China could be responsible for the 7 million lives as well, unfortunately, because of the disease. But 7 million lives is a very significant loss of life in terms of the fatalities involved. I don't think other diseases have cost so much. So that's one of my views about COVID. But the other serious interests about COVID is the fact that it involved social distancing, which has never happened before, and face masks, which have never been worn as widespread as they were worn before. So I think that was quite a vision to see all of those face masks in public. And the third interesting thing about COVID is it involved global lockdown because people had to be quarantined and they had to stay indoors. So that meant that people had to not go to work and things. So there was a global shutdown and lockdown of economies, and that practically seems quite unusual because I don't think global economies can lock down like that, despite the best measures that are enforced by government and authorities. So that's quite significant. And I think that global lockdown has probably had a big economic impact on the global economy as well. But I think that's something very strange and unusual about COVID, the lockdown of economies. And I think those are the three kind of signatures of COVID, all those face masks, the social distancing, and the global lockdown of economies. And I think that there should be some kind of World Health Organization intervention to investigate the fatalities involved, the 7 million people who died because of COVID. I think why there was an outbreak that cost 7 million lives, I don't think that question has been asked very, very much. And I think that China does need to be held accountable for this. I think if China is the source of this outbreak, then it needs to be investigated whether it was some kind of a health and safety issue, some kind of animal disease that occurred, or some kind of transportation of livestock that affected other countries, other regions. But certainly China should be made to answer for some of these questions. And I think the World Health Organization should kind of investigate the incident of COVID. I think it is likely to occur again because we're having to have follow-up vaccines and jabs that are continuing, and they've not been terminated in terms of their production and rollout. So that's not stopped, it's still there. So I think there is a risk. I think there's a 40 to 60% risk that COVID could occur again, maybe every 5 to 10 years, and that could involve a similar number of fatalities. So I think this kind of bird flu in the global environment and population is creating a condition of health contamination and quarantine and pandemic is having to be dealt with in a significant way. So that's my view about COVID, and I think COVID is quite an important issue at the moment in terms of the health conditions facing the world.